pass. Things looking crazy, a storm on the horizon. The pressure is low, gotta get moving, put on a show. The news is all buzzing, state of alert, but we've got a plan, we're ready to work. Emergency Management Associates, we're here for the crisis, we're here for the fates. From the first sign of trouble to the all clear sign, we're on the front lines, we're one of a kind. Emergency Management Associates, we're the calm in the chaos, we're opening gates, connecting the dots and making the calls. We're picking you up when you're starting to fall. See a little fire or a rising flood, we're a well-oiled machine, we're running in the mud. From the city hall meetings to the rescue teams, turning worst case scenarios into hopeful dreams. We're training the people, we're stocking the gear, we're the team you can count on when trouble is near. Emergency Management Associates, we're here for the crisis, we're here for the fates. From the first sign of trouble to the all clear sign, we're on the front lines, we're one of a kind. Emergency Management Associates, we're the calm in the chaos, we're opening gates, connecting the dots and making the calls. We're picking you up when you're starting to fall. It's more than a job, it's a calling, you see. Prepared for the present and what's yet to be. Every second counts, we're ready to react for our communities. We're making an impact. Emergency Management Associates, we're here for the crisis, we're here for the fates. From the first sign of trouble to the all clear sign, we're on the front lines, we're one of a kind. Emergency Management Associates, we're the calm in the chaos, we're opening gates, connecting the dots and making the calls. We're picking you up when you're starting to fall. Yeah, we're picking you up, we're ready to go. EMA, let's get this show on the road.
Let's get this show on the road. Let's do it right now, guys. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates, guys. We're coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We want to welcome everybody here who has joined us here on the program today. Sergeant Johnson was the first one in today. Arnold Smith's now here, and Christina's also here. Thank you all, guys. Now, I want to get started here while we wait for more people to join us here in the chat, so I know we have a good following here because we have 16 watching. I'm hoping for a lot more before I get into the main focus of the program. But I want to ask everybody right now up front, please, guys, check and make sure you are subscribed to this program. If you are not subscribed to this program, please subscribe to this program. Also, when you do that, right next to the subscription button, there is a little bell icon. Click on that bell icon, okay? A drop-down menu of 3 items is going to come up. Click on the word ALL. That should get you notified when we come on the air, but be advised, YouTube does not always notify everyone when we come on. We come on the air between 4 and 5 p.m. Eastern Time during the weekdays, Monday through Friday. On Saturdays, we usually take it off. But be known this, if we're not on the air on the weekend, normally we'll be on the air because there's been some emergency that has come up. We've been known to come on the air at all times of the day and night, okay? because an emergency happens. When that happens, as soon as the information becomes available, we'll come on the air to talk about it. We always do, always have. That's been our philosophy. On Sundays, we have a special program called Sunday School. We call it Come Follow Me, the Savior Said. That is at 12:30 noon on Sundays, okay? Now, there is a conference in Lenore, North Carolina that I want to attend that starts at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, so I might be a little bit late this Sunday only. But we will be coming on the air this Sunday to talk about Jesus Christ. So please be tuned in for that as well. Okay? We appreciate all of you being here. It means a great deal to me. Trish Killian has also joined us here in the chat. Welcome, Trish. God bless you all. Appreciate it. Now, we're going to be talking about earthquakes today. A lot of earthquakes. Okay? First off on the hit parade is going to be the USGS map. So let's go there and take a look at what's happened. Okay? I want to start off today talking about the earthquakes that have happened, particularly these earthquakes over here on the southeastern side of the Kamchatka Peninsula. Remember, we keep talking about this almost every day. We had an earthquake here that was an 8.8. USGS called it that. It was actually a 9.4 major quake. Anything over a 7.0 was a major quake. It was a 9.4. Now, as a result of that happening, you need to be aware, we have aftershocks have happened. Aftershocks are continuing here. Aftershocks after a major earthquake can continue for days, weeks, months, and even years. That's what I think will happen here. There's already been a day this month since USGS that USGS did not put any earthquakes here, but there were earthquakes. I showed them on my device. Okay? There are earthquakes here no matter what USGS says. USGS does not always have the correct information. That's why I call it the BS agency. I hate saying that, but it's true. Now, let's look at what's happened here along the southeastern side of the Kamchatka Peninsula of Russia, right here. This is a 4.6 earthquake, 42.6 kilometers deep. Right next to it, this is the big one. This is a 5.4 earthquake. No, it's not a huge earthquake, but it's a 5.4 large earthquake. The largest earthquake here today. Okay, 5.4 large earthquake here. It's on land. It's on land. Now, that could pose a significant issue, meaning large earthquakes like this can cause a lot of damage. That's why we've always called them large earthquakes. And USGS, just several months ago, decided to call them moderate earthquakes. There's nothing moderate about a large earthquake. Moderate earthquakes cause moderate damage. These large 5.0, 5.9 cause lots of damage, large amounts of damage. That's what this would cause today. Now, with this quake being here, the Kamchatka Peninsula itself is not largely populated. It's not heavily populated at all. They're hit and miss towns and cities around Kamchatka Peninsula. This peninsula is largely volcanic. Largely volcanic. There are a ton of volcanoes all over this peninsula. Okay? But in this particular area, I do not believe there's anybody living here. I do not believe there's anybody living here. Right here, I looked at this earlier. There are no roads here. There are no roads. So significantly, if people want to get anywhere, they have to have roads to get there or come by boat. That's not the case here. Okay, this hit right next to the shoreline. Anybody even living anywhere in the area would be able to feel this quake. Anybody living within the area can feel this quake. Now down here, see here, these are cliffs. Nobody lives here either. If this was California, they might live along the cliff edge. But this is not California. Again, the Kamchatka Peninsula is not very populated at all. So nowhere probably within 500 miles are there anybody that lives in this area. Okay? Some people that may have felt this earthquake may be long distance. They may be long distance from this area. But this was a large 5.4 earthquake. large 5.4 earthquake, guys. Okay, we talked about this other earthquake that was a 4.6 moderate quake. Further south, down here in the ocean, again, look where this earthquake is located, right along the Russian Okhotsk plate with Pacific plate. Okay, this is where the Okhotsk plate and the Pacific plate meet. That major earthquake that we had over a month ago was a full plate rupture, meaning the two plates separated. Two plates separated. After that earthquake, we've had 7.2, 7.4, and 7.8 earthquakes. I believe the plate may still be separated here. We are still having earthquakes here. Okay? The earthquakes are going to continue. One more earthquake further south here, also along the same plate boundary. This is a large 5.0 earthquake. This 5.0 earthquake was 11 kilometers deep. 11 kilometers deep, imagine that. Okay? That's a report out of Russia today. Okay? We want to drop down over here. Again, this is important. Over here off the northwestern shore of Luzon, Philippines here. Just offshore from Luzon, Philippines here. This was a large 5.1 earthquake. 5.1 earthquake. This happened at 4:14 a.m. this morning Eastern Time. Eastern Time. Okay? That completely varies from Philippine time here. Okay? But this was a large 5.1 earthquake. Dennis Swanger just joined membership here, or actually sent one membership here, gift membership here to one of our viewers here. Dennis, thank you for that. Renee Steffi just received a gift membership for 1 month. Renee, please thank Dennis for that membership. Thank you so much, Dennis. It's very much appreciated. Okay? Very, very much appreciated. Getting back to these earthquakes, this is offshore from Luzon, Philippines. This 5.1 earthquake was 17.3 kilometers deep. This was a shallow earthquake. It's also 14 miles northwest of Pagupud, Philippines, offshore. Now that only means that the people who live here on this part of Luzon, Philippines, may or may not have felt the full brunt of the earthquake. It's 14 miles offshore. 14 miles offshore. Linda just gave us a super chat of $20. Thank you so much, Linda, for that. God bless you. I'm giving you an EMA sticker on your super chat. I'm also giving you a thumbs up for that. Appreciate that. God bless you. We appreciate all of your support to this channel. It means a great deal to us because it keeps us on the air. Okay? All of your support helps keep us on the air. Thank you so much. Okay? That's great. Okay? That's wonderful. But again, this 5.1 offshore only means that that full brunt of the earthquake was not right on shoreline. Not right on shoreline. If it had been on shoreline, then some people would have been dead, suffered damage. Yes, there are people living in this area. There are people living in this area. Okay? So let's pray that nobody got any real damage here. 5.1 large earthquakes can cause a lot of damage, large amount of damage. Along with that 5.1 here, there is also 5.0. This 5.0 is only 5 miles offshore. 5 miles offshore from Aveyah, Philippines. Right here. 5 miles offshore. So this earthquake, these two earthquakes can cause a lot of damage. This only being 5 miles off the shore, guess what? Or 7 miles off the shore, this earthquake was probably felt on shore. Earthquakes in the water are being tempered by the ocean water. Most of the time, if they're far enough shore, the ocean waters absorb the shockwaves of this quake. This is in the Philippine Sea. These earthquakes are in the Philippine Sea here. Okay, let's go further south here. Okay. I want to come down here off of the coast of Mindanao, Philippines here, off on this island here. Okay. Now, early this morning, this earthquake hit. Okay. This is a 6.1 very strong earthquake. 6.0, 6.9 are very strong earthquakes. Okay. This one was on the Philippines here. Union, Philippines, guys, guess what? Right in town here. There's probably some unalive people here. There are probably injuries here and major damage. Major damage. That's what happens when a 6.1 earthquake hits land. Major damage. Okay? Anything over, I would even say 5.5 earthquakes, all the way up to major 10.0 can cause major damage. This hit in town. This is a catastrophic earthquake. This is very much a catastrophic earthquake here in the Philippines. Okay? Now, I want to say this. I was online at that time. I was notified about it. I went and tried to find out more information about it, but USGS and Europeans didn't have any information about it until early this morning. USGS and the European agencies did not report these earthquakes, this earthquake in particular, until early this morning. Okay, at first I thought it might be false because nobody's reported it, but I woke up this morning and realized, oh my gosh, this is a big deal. And yes, it is. This is a very strong 6.1 earthquake. Again, 6.0 to 6.9 are considered to be very strong earthquakes. 7.0 and larger are major earthquakes. This is a 6.1, but 6.1 earthquakes can cause major damage, and that's what I believe happened here today. Okay? Does anybody have any questions about that? This is a big deal. This is a very big deal. I'm going over here and I'm checking some information here in the Philippines. Okay? That earthquake hit late last night. It was part of two powerful earthquakes to hit the Philippines in the last week. Okay? But right now, there are no reports of casualties or damage. Okay? Now, that might be because it's a rural area. That might be only because it's a rural area. It's a small rural area. There is a city there. But right now, there are no reports of casualties or damage. But that earthquake is a strong earthquake. People over there said they felt a strong shake. It was only a very short time period, though. The tremor struck Dupage municipality in Surigao del Norte province at a depth of 69 kilometers deep. Okay? It came after a total week of two major quakes, 7.4 and 6.7 magnitude, that shook the entire eastern section of Mindanao, Philippines, killing at least 8 people. Those earthquakes killed at least 8 people. These followed a magnitude 6.9 earthquake earlier this week that killed 76 people and destroyed or damaged 72 72,000 homes. 72,000 homes, guys, in Cebu province just a few days ago. 72,000 homes were damaged or destroyed. That's incredible. That's just incredible. Now, as we've talked about before, earthquakes here in this part of the Ring of Fire in the Philippines are almost near daily occurrence. Almost near daily occurrence. Most of the time, it's a lot less strong. Usually they have moderate 4.0, 4.9s here. But now, this past week, they've had now 3 huge earthquakes. The largest being a major 7.4. Okay? The Philippines, again, is situated on the Pacific Ring of Fire, an arc of intense seismic activity stretching from Japan through Southeast Asia and across the Pacific Islands, and all the way up to Alaska. Kamchatka, Russia, Alaska, down into British Columbia, Canada, and over the US, the United States and Canada, down in Central America and South America as well. The entire Pacific Ring of Fire. Okay? Now in 1976, an 8.0 magnitude major quake. An 8.0 magnitude major quake hit Mindanao Island's southwest coast in 1976. That quake unleashed a tsunami that left 8,000 people dead or missing. That was the Philippines' deadliest natural disaster, 1976. Okay? This area has earthquakes. This area has a lot of earthquakes. We talked about them. We talk about them almost, I can't say totally daily, but it happens all the time. Literally all the time. Let's back out of here. Again, I just was notified about this. I was notified last night, but last night, neither Europeans or the U.S. agency had any data on it. When I woke up this morning, I'm going, oh my gosh, this is bad. Okay? Off the coast here. This was a 4.8 moderate earthquake. This was an aftershock. This was an aftershock. Now, with that said, I'm going to go over to my device. Let's pull up what exactly happened, because USGS is still not telling us the entire truth here. They never tell the truth. Never, ever. So far, I've never seen the USGS own up to anything. Very rarely do they even show activity. And when they do, it's not the truth. Okay? Okay? Now, with that said, let me bring up my webcam. Let me show you exactly what happened there. Look at this. USGS shows one earthquake there, one aftershock. Interesting. Interesting. We've got a 3.7 on the north end here. I'm not going to show all of them, but I'm going to just pick and choose here just to show you these are all aftershocks. This is a 3.7, 3.2, 3.6, 3.3, 3.0, 3.1, 4.7 here. That's a 4.7. Notice where it's at. Notice where this earthquake is at. Let me back this out so you can see it. Where are these earthquakes at? The Europeans make it very well known. This is on the edge of the plate. This is on the edge of the plate. There are 7 different plates subducting here. There are 7 different plates subducting here in this region. Seven different plates are subducting this region, from Japan south to Myanmar, Burma area, down here to the southeast, All the way out here, Australia. Yes, notice that there is an earthquake here in Australia that USGS is not showing. All the way out here into Tonga, Samoa, New Zealand, Vanuatu area. 7 different tectonic plates subducted. Subducting meaning one plate is subducting under the other like this. Subduction means going underneath the other plate. That's what's happening here. This is the largest subduction area in the world. That's why we have so many earthquakes. That's exactly why we have so many earthquakes. And notice this too, okay? There are a lot more earthquakes than they're showing. For example, this one in Japan. This is another large earthquake in Japan that USGS is not showing. This is a 5.0 earthquake here. A large 5.0 offshore from, actually this is not near the islands of Japan. This is offshore in the Izu Islands here. The Izu Islands here are not occupied islands here. This is offshore in the Izu Islands, a 5.0 large earthquake, okay? But notice all these other earthquakes here. 10 earthquakes off the northeast coast of Mindanao, Philippines. 10 plus earthquakes where that very strong earthquake hit over here in eastern Philippines. Unreal. Really unreal. Then again, we go down here to Indonesia. 42 earthquakes here in Indonesia. 42 earthquakes in Indonesia, and USGS is not showing but what? Let's show you this. Let's show you this. They're showing us one earthquake here. They're showing us one, and there's 42 earthquakes here. And also, something else they're not showing you. Actually, they are. I'm sorry. My bad. My bad here. This is over in the Andaman Islands, okay? In the Andaman Islands. This is another large earthquake here. This is a 5.0 earthquake here in the Indian Ocean, near the Andaman Islands. The Andaman Islands are not occupied islands here. They're totally unoccupied islands. 5.0 earthquake there, okay? Let's go take a look at this earthquake that's down here in Australia that they're not even telling us about, okay? Yesterday, there was an earthquake in the same location. There was also one in southeastern Australia. This is a 2.52 earthquake. This is a 2.52 earthquake. They had a 2.6 earthquake here yesterday. That means they've had two now, 2 minor earthquakes here in the past 24 hours. This is a 2.52. The other one here yesterday was a 2.6. Then down here in southeastern Australia, right down here yesterday had a 2.5. 2.5 earthquake here. Okay? USGS also didn't show that yesterday. They never do. They never do. Okay? They never show earthquakes here in New Zealand either. Look at all the earthquakes here. Not showing them. Why not? Why not? Let's look at these earthquakes here, okay? Let's look at Fiji here. This is south of Fiji. It's a large 5.1 earthquake. Large 5.1 earthquake. USGS is showing 4 earthquakes there. Interesting. Guess what? 5 aftershocks. 5 aftershocks compared to, actually, I'm sorry, they are showing them. Bless their souls. They are showing these earthquakes. Okay? Let's go here. This is a 4.3 moderate earthquake here. This is a 4.4 earthquake here. Right next to that large earthquake, this is a 4.2 earthquake here. This is a 4.2 earthquake here. Right here, south of the Fiji Islands, is another large 5.0 earthquake. This is a large 5.0 earthquake. So there are two large earthquakes here. This is a 5.0, this is a 5.1. Okay? They're still not showing anything here in New Zealand. Really? Look at this. All kinds of earthquakes here in New Zealand. 2.0 to 3.7 earthquakes. 2.0 to 3.7 earthquakes, except up here in the Kermadec Islands. Here in the Kermadec Islands, this is a 3.65. 3.65. This earthquake is a 3.92 4.0. The reason I call 3.92 4.0 is because they downgrade these quakes. I've shown you how they downgrade these quakes. They downgrade them to the nearest 0.9. The 0.9 society is alive and well. Okay, 3.9, 4.2 earthquake there. This is a 3.7 earthquake here. One more earthquake here. Actually, more than that. No, there's one more here. This is a 4.1 earthquake. These are all in the Kermadec Island region. The Kermadec Island region north of New Zealand. The Kermadec Islands, for anybody new here, the Kermadec Islands are unoccupied islands. They're only occupied by birds, seabirds. The only time scientists or anybody else goes here is during high tide. Why? That is because there is lava up near the surface. There was volcanic activity. Volcanic activity made these islands. These Kermadec Islands that are above the water also have dangerous bolt ripping apart rocks beneath the surface. Great big huge lava rock beneath the surface, so they can only go here near here during high tide. That way their boats don't get ripped apart. That's what's happening there. Okay? But again, further south over here into New Zealand, we have a large amount of earthquakes. We actually have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28 earthquakes here in New Zealand. 28 earthquakes here in New Zealand. Most of these are just 2.0 to 2.9. I think there's only one other, if I'm not mistaken, that's in the threes here. Let me see if I can find it here. It was here earlier. Yes, this is it here. This is offshore from the North Island. This is a 3.7 earthquake. All the rest of them are 2.0, 2.9. This is the 3.7 here, north of the North Island here. This area here is called the Bay of Plenty. Looks like a catcher's mitt in baseball. It's called the Bay of Plenty here. The Bay of Plenty. There it is right there. Okay? That's what happens over here in the South Pacific. Unreal. Unreal. Let's go over to Alaska now. Notice that large earthquake there? Guess what? We had a large earthquake. We did have a large earthquake here in the Aleutian Islands. Let me show you that quake. This is a 5.1 earthquake. This is 39 miles south of Akutan, Alaska. 39 miles south of Akutan, Alaska. This is actually south of the islands, but it's in the Aleutian Island zone there. This huge ridge of earth here down underneath the North Pacific here. This is a 5.1 earthquake here, 39 miles south of Akutan, Alaska. Also 49 miles deep. Okay? The other earthquakes here are just minor tremors and minor earthquakes, 2.0 type earthquakes. This actually here is a brand new earthquake. I didn't see this here till now. This is a 3.6 small earthquake. 3.6 small earthquake here in Denali National Park. Denali National Park. Over here near Mount McKinley. This is the 1.8 tremor. 1.8 tremor near Mount McKinley here. Okay. Further southeast of McKinley, this is a 2.1 in Skeetna, Alaska. 2.1 here in Skeetna, Alaska. Over here near Anchorage, just southeast of Anchorage here. This is a 2.9 minor 2.9 3.0 earthquake here. This is 1 mile west of Girdwood, Alaska. 1 mile west of Girdwood, Alaska here. Let's check that out. There's actually 2 earthquakes here. My word. 2 earthquakes. This is a 2.9 3.0, and this is a 2.0 earthquake here. 2.0 earthquake here in Girdwood, Alaska. Very small town here. Girdwood, Alaska, 2.0 earthquake, a 2.1 right next to it. Okay? That's what's happened here in Alaska today. Let's go south. Let's go over here to Washington State and Oregon. The Cascade Subduction Zone region. Let's check this out. Over here in the Puget Sound region here. 1.1 tremor here near Orcas, Washington. Orcas Island, Washington. They are showing this 1.1, which is very interesting. Very, very interesting. Why? Because they rarely show 1.1 anything. Orcas Island has tons of 1.1s. They have quite a few 2.0s to 2.9s. Occasionally, they even have a 3.1, 3.5 earthquake here at Orcas Island, Washington here. Okay, this is the first time I've seen them show an earthquake here at Orcas Island. The very first time. But they're showing a 1.1 tremor here, and I'm sure there are a lot more than that. Okay, over here on the Olympic Peninsula, this is 1.3 near Forks, Washington. 1.3 tremor near Forks, Washington. Go further over here to the west, or east, east. This is near Falls City, Washington. This is a microquake, a 0.3 microquake. Notice they're not showing anything here at Mount Rainier. Nothing here at Mount Rainier at all. We know for a fact there are tremors. We know for a fact there's at least 1 or 2 3.0, 3.5 earthquakes here at Mount Rainier. Why? Because Mount Rainier is showing signs it's going to erupt. Regular 3.0, 3.5 earthquakes here at Mount Rainier. All the time. Okay? Not showing anything at all. There is a lot of activity there. Okay? They're also not showing anything here at Mount Hood. They're not showing anything down here at Mount Hood at all. Right there. I'm sorry, that's not it. Well, give me a second, guys. There's that's Mount Rainier. Just south of over here is Mount Hood. I'm not showing anything at all. I'm not Mount Hood, Mount St. Helens. That's Mount St. Helens, not showing anything. We know there are earthquakes there. Over here at Mount Adams, they don't show anything here ever. I've only seen 1 earthquake being shown here at Mount Adams of several years ago. They haven't shown anything at Mount Adams. But guys, Mount Adams can surprise you. I have reported about Mount Adams in previous episodes of this program several years ago. Mount Adams is going to surprise everybody one day. But there are earthquakes here at Mount St. Helens. There are earthquakes further down here at Mount Hood as well. They rarely ever show anything here. When they do, we're surprised. But they're not showing anything at all here in Oregon. Nothing. Why not? Why not? Down here in Northern California, off the coast of Petrolia, California here, on the San Andreas Fault. On the San Andreas Fault, we have two earthquakes. This earthquake is a 1.7 tremor here, off the coast on the San Andreas Fault up here in Northern California. Right here, another earthquake closer to the coast. This is another 1.7 tremor here. All these earthquakes are in the Cascadia subduction zone region. The Cascadia subduction zone region. Okay? There are earthquakes here in Southern California. They rarely show much of anything. They rarely show much of anything. This earthquake here is in the Grapevine. This is a 2.1 earthquake in the Grapevine. There's a highway there, Highway 15, coming from San Diego all the way out to Vegas and all the way up to Montana, Interstate 15. This is a 2.1 minor earthquake here. Notice here in Los Angeles, they hardly show anything at all. Literally nothing. Literally nothing. Over here, see this in Los Angeles? They're showing this as a 0.6 microquake here in Highland Park near Pasadena. 0.6 microquake, 5.4 miles deep. Further out here to the east, Little Creek, California, 1.2 tremor. Further out here to the southeast, Loma Linda. We talked about Loma Linda, near Loma, California yesterday. This is a 0.7 microquake. Right next to it here, Moreno Valley, Orange County, 1.0 tremor. Go all the way down here to the south, okay? San Bernardino Mountains. San Bernardino Mountains, this is Idlewild, California. This is a 0.5 microquake. Right next to it here, if they'll let me pick it up here, this also is a 0.5 microquake. This is a 0.5 microquake. And this is a 0.3 microquake. All of this area is considered the Anza Gap. The Anza Gap, part of the Anza Borrego Desert State Park in northeast San Diego County. Idlewild is over in San Bernardino Mountains. But south there is the Anza Gap in the northeastern part of San Diego County. One earthquake down here to the southwest. This is Lake Henshaw, northeast of Escondido, California. Unreal. Cassandra just gave us a $10 super chat. Thank you so much for that, Cassandra. We appreciate it. God bless you. I'm giving you an EMA sticker on your super chat. I'm also giving you a thumbs up for that. Thank you so much. Thank you so very much. Now, these other earthquakes here. This is the 1.3 near Julian, California. 5 miles northeast of Julian, California. We talked about Julian, California, and this is a fine time to go to Julian today. This afternoon, this evening, and all weekend. You can get great, big, huge pieces of hot apple pie at the restaurants here in Julian. They give ample servings of hot apple pie here in Julian, and you'll have also hot apple cider. That hits a spot out here. It's very cool there in Julian. Over in San Diego County, closer to the beach, you're going to get 60, 70, 65, 70 degree temperatures this time of year, 75 this time of year. But out here in the mountains of California, San Diego, California, it gets cold here. It gets very chilly. So hot apple pie and a hot glass of cider is awesome. You can also buy full meals here as well. There are bed and breakfasts here. There are stores and shops to wander through. There is an old cowboy museum as well. There's a mining town out there. Just not Julian is an old mining town, but there's an old mine that's closed down there. Old gold mine that's closed down there. This earthquake here is a 0.6 microquake. These earthquakes here are on the San Jacinto Fault. This is a 1.1 tremor. Further south here is a 0.3 microquake. Okay. Notice over here in southern Imperial Valley, hardly showing anything. They're showing one earthquake down here in the southern part, the Imperial Valley, this near Mexicali. Mexicali is down here at the border, on the north side of the U.S.-Mexican border. This is a 2.2 minor earthquake here. 2.2 minor earthquake. And the sad thing is there are over 500 earthquakes here in the Imperial Valley every day. 500 earthquakes here in the Imperial Valley every day. And they're only showing this one here and one other over here near Ocotillo Wells. Ocotillo Wells. This is a 0.7 microquake. This is in the foothills of the Chocolate Mountains here on the east side of the Chocolate Mountains. This is a 0.8. This is 0.7. Okay. Further north here, also on the east side of the Chocolate Mountains here, this is part of Borrego Springs. This is a 2.0 earthquake in Borrego Springs, Anza-Borrego National Park, State Park. Anza-Borrego State Park here in North San Diego County. This is also 2.0 in Anza-Borrego Desert State Park. Okay? That area is still moving. The entire San Andreas Fault is going to pop. I keep explaining this over and over, guys. USGS doesn't want to show it because they know what's going to happen. They don't want to have people moving away from the Southern California area. Otherwise, they would show these earthquakes all the time. They're not even showing a tenth of the earthquakes that are happening here in Southern California. 400 earthquakes a day happen in Los Angeles and over 500 earthquakes a day in the Imperial County. That's 900 earthquakes a day in Southern California. That's incredible. Those are incredible numbers. Those are huge numbers. Now I want to go over here to southern Mexico. I want to go down here in southern Mexico. Let me see if I can find it now. There's a volcano here, guys. There's a volcano here. In fact, let me bring it up on my device here so I can show it to you. This area is rocking and rolling. USGS is not even paying any kind of time to it. None at all. None at all. Volcano. The place is rocking and rolling here. There are 20 plus earthquakes, you guys. There are 20 plus earthquakes here. Let me back out here just a quick second. No, it's not there. Let me just show it to you on my device here. Look at this. Look at the earthquakes rocking that volcano. 20 plus earthquakes every day for the past week and a half. 20 plus earthquakes at this volcano every day during the past week and a half. That's huge. This is huge. Okay? Again, US just not even showing it. Not even showing it. My question is, why not? Why not? If there's a volcano that's about to erupt, and that apparently is, because the earthquakes are all around it, these are 2.0 to 2.9 earthquakes every day. every day without fail. And USGS tends to say, oh, it's not important. Not important at all. They're not showing any earthquakes at all here in southern Mexico. 48 earthquakes here in southern Mexico. 48 earthquakes here in southern Mexico, they're not showing one of them. Why? Because this energy is moving up to the north. This energy is moving to the north, and there's going to be earthquakes here in the Southern California area because of it. It's rocking and rolling. Rocking and rolling big time. Big time. Now I've shown you these earthquakes. They're important. They're very important. We need to know what's going on here. Over in Elbert, Colorado. Elbert, Colorado. This is south of Denver by about, I want to say, 90 miles. This is a small 3.0 earthquake. This is the edge of the Rocky Mountains, guys. This is the edge of the Rocky Mountains near Colorado Springs. 3.0 earthquake here. We haven't had a lot of earthquakes here in the past. Yes, they've been tremors for the most part. This is the first 3.0 we've had here in a while, near Colorado Springs and Elbert, Colorado. Okay? This is also 5 miles deep. 5 miles deep. So people in Elbert, Colorado felt this earthquake today. They definitely felt this earthquake. Now, why I'm backing out of here? Does anybody have any questions about earthquakes? Any questions about earthquakes? Now, over in Los Angeles, okay, I'm going to be talking about fires for the rest of the time period here today. I'm going to talk about fires. I'm also going to talk about fire prevention. Right in the middle of the end, I'm saying the middle of the end of fire season here in our country. There are other fires around the world. We sometimes talk about them as well. But again, the place I'm going to show you now burned this past year. Palos Verdes, California. Palos Verdes, California. Let's play this video here.
See what's going on.
That's right, Ranchos Palos Verdes, LA County Fire on scene out here. A house fire, huge house fire apparently, and it's happening live. Now, the LA County Fire Department, they're here on scene. They are talking about structure protection. There's one of the houses nearby that they are very concerned about, and they also apparently have propane tanks nearby, and some of those propane tanks might actually be going off or venting at this moment. As we're making our way over the hill here was the first shot we can actually see of that house burning, and again, though, you can see the flames still on that side of the house, the inside of the house on fire, firefighters inside. We did hear them talking about doing search and rescue. Hopefully there is nobody home and there won't be any of either of those happening. Right now, though, the flames continue to burn. This is going to be off of Via Sonoma and near Via Gabriel. And again, though, you can see LA County Fire Department, they're working to keep those flames from spreading to other homes. Huge house fire out here in the Ranchos Palos Verdes area. Again, though, we still have not got any confirmation if anybody was inside this home when that fire broke out. They're also talking about structure protection from the houses on both sides. Dylan, if you want, you can go ahead and make an orbit. And again, we're talking about large propane tanks nearby. That was a huge concern for the fire department. They're going to keep an eye on that as well. Right now, though, very active firefight out here. And again, my ear is definitely on the scanner. We want to make sure that there are no injuries. That seems to be the biggest concern, at least for me and the fire department right now. I'm still up in Sky Fox, sending it back to y'all.
Well, you see a lot of vegetation there too, the trees, the lush green vegetation that certainly is providing fuel for this fire.
Oh, definitely. The vegetation nearby is something that they are concerned about. LA County Fire, they are some of the best in the Los Angeles area, but you can see a lot of heavy smoke still up in that attic area. That means that there is still very active flames out there. Most of the fire they are talking about being knocked down, meaning they did put out a good portion of that fire, and they are still inside that home right now, just making sure that they don't have any victims, and I'm sure hoping they don't. You can see some of that decking still kind of steaming down there. Anybody that knows anything about the science of fire, basically that what will happen is that the house fire will start heating up items around that home. That deck is probably something that they are concerned about. I'm sure the firefighters will put water on that as well. But right now you can see how hot those flames were melting some of that furniture, that patio furniture in the back. Again, though, I am listening to the one thing that I am concerned about is that search and rescue. I want to hear all clear inside that home. But again, this happening in the Ranchos Palos Verdes area. Skyfox seeing that smoke from the Whittier area this morning, getting over here as quick as we could, about 6 minutes. Don't try to beat that on the ground. But again, most of the flames knocked down at this time. LA County Fire Department still here on scene. The homes next door, they are the ones they are concerned about. Right now, though, seems like they both are safe. LA County Fire doing a fantastic job keeping those flames in check.
Okay, you see that fire on the left side there? The right side of that one house right next to the fire? Let me back that up so you can see it.
They both are safe. LA County Fire doing a fantastic job keeping those flames in check. But again, still very active fire out here in the Ranchos Palos Verdes. Ones they are concerned about.
Okay.
Right now, though, seems like
Go back there.
Next door.
See that fire right there? It's right on the side stairway of that other house. That's bad. All these homes here are what they call estate homes, worth millions and millions and millions of dollars. Fire right there.
They are the ones they are concerned about. Right now, though, seems like they both are safe. LA County Fire doing a fantastic job keeping those flames in check. But again, still very active fire out here in the Ranchos Palos Verdes area.
I mean, the good news is that we don't have a wind situation here, right? With those homes so close together and all of the plants, the vegetation that are next door. And it looks like firefighters, just based on the way they're moving there, it looks like they're pretty much getting a handle on this, and white smoke there, so it looks like they're putting some of this fire out. But lots to burn there and protecting all the structures around this home. Again, the address 2441 Via Sonoma in Palos Verdes Estates.
Hey, this is Amada. Got good news for everybody. We did get confirmation nobody was inside that house at the time of the fire, so they have no civilian victims and no injuries to any of the firefighters. LA County firefighters, men and women out here battling these flames. This is going to be Ranchos Palos Verdes, 2400 block of Via Sonoma. When the fire department arrived here about 15 minutes ago, they had a fully involved large single-family structure. You see it right there. Quick work from the fire department protecting the structures on both sides of this home, and there was also apparently some propane tanks in this area as well. Now they got it all taken care of, and now the flame.
Okay, look at that area to the right side of the house. This fire started in the garage area. The fire department got there very fast, but as they arrived there, the fire was fully engulfing the house. That's how fast fire can travel. The fire started in the garage area and spread throughout the house in a matter of minutes. That's bad.
Flames are pretty much out inside that home. They're starting to do what's called mop-up. That means they're just going to put out all those hot spots and just do what they can to make sure those flames don't pop up again. But the best news is no injuries to civilians, no injuries to firefighters. And again, this firefight coming to an end out here in the Ranchos Palos Verdes area.
Okay, that's unreal. We appreciate Skyfox and we appreciate Fox 11 Television in Los Angeles for providing this information to us. This is great. Yes, a lot of people didn't hear about this. A lot of people didn't hear about it. I heard about it from my wife earlier today. But I want to show you this information because we're going to be talking about fire tonight. We're going to be talking about a lot of fires tonight. Our topic is firefighting. Our topic is firefighting. I'm going to first bring up the picture from the Paradise Fire up there in Northern California. This happened in 2018. The Paradise Fire, we covered it here on the Emergency Management Associates. The second one here just happened earlier this year. This is the Paradise, this is the Palisades Fire here. Notice it hopped from place to place, house to house, and sometimes there were even homes that didn't get hit at all. Let's talk about that. Back in 2018, the Paradise Fire here. Thousands of homes were incinerated, but trees still stood. Look at the trees in this area, they're still standing. The same thing happened in the Palos Verdes fire. The aerial view of the destruction from both of these fires is amazing. The Camp Fire burned more than 7,000 structures in Paradise, California. The Palisades Fire was a highly destructive wildfire that began burning in the Santa Monica Mountains of Los Angeles County on January 7th. And the fire grew to destroy large areas of Pacific Palisades, Topanga, and Malibu before it was fully contained on January 31st. The suspect who starts this fire is under arrest. He's under arrest as of a few days ago. Okay? This is just one of a series of wildfires in Southern California. This powerful fire was driven by very powerful Santa Ana winds they call devil winds. The Palisades Fire burned 23,448 acres, 9,489 hectares, 36.638 miles, 36.63 square miles. It killed 12 people. It destroyed 6,837 structures. This is slightly less than the Palisades Fire, making this fire in Palisades, California, the 10th deadliest wildfire and third most destructive of California wildfires on record. Now, yes, we're talking about California. However, these wildfires can happen anywhere. We've seen fires in Oklahoma. We've seen fires in Idaho. We've seen fires in Montana, in Oregon, Washington, Wyoming, Colorado. We've seen fires in North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, fires in every state and every country worldwide. Fires, very destructive wildfires. Earlier in January 2025, the Palisades Fire burned. It was fueled by a very strong high-pressure system, very strong high-pressure weather system over the Great Basin, which created a steep northerly pressure gradient across Southern California. In other words, devil fire, devil winds, Santa Ana winds. That huge high-pressure system triggered what they call powerful Santa Ana winds, devil winds off the low deserts, and also catabolic winds, which are cold, dense winds that flow downhill from higher elevations, such as mountains or plateaus, driven by gravity, winds driven by gravity, catabolic winds. Okay? These are formed when air at higher elevations cools and becomes denser than the other surrounding air, causing it to rush down the slopes of the hills and mountains. These winds can be very strong, especially in large, high-altitude regions like Antarctica, for example. And they can have drying or scouring effects due to their low moisture content. Low moisture content. Does this ring a bell with the Santa Ana winds? Yeah, it does. The dense inland air is funneled through mountain passes, such as Trabuco Canyon, Malibu, that whole area. It's driven through the passes and the canyons towards the warmer coastal areas. The Paradise and the Palisades Fire had experienced 8 months without any measurable rainfall, and much of the region had fallen into moderate drought conditions. A battalion chief for the California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection, which is now called CAL FIRE, told the Times of Los Angeles that large wildfire and the National Weather Service had issued what they call red flag warning on the morning of January 6th, when that arsonist started the fire. The red flag warning was through Thursday evening of that following week. The red flag warning included multiple regions, including the Malibu coast, the Santa Monica Mountains, the San Gabriel Mountains, the San Fernando Valley, the Santa Clarita Valley. The Weather Service predicted life-threatening windstorm, and Santa Ana wind gusts. The wind gusts were forecasted anywhere from 60 to 80 miles per hour, 97 to 129 kilometers per hour, with some gusts anticipated to reach 90 miles per hour, and they did. We covered this fire as well. 90 miles an hour, 140 kilometers an hour in mountainous areas. Residents were urged to use extreme caution with anything that can spark a wildfire, and those near the forest can be prepared to evacuate. The danger posed by windstorms and weather patterns led Caltrans, the California Department of Transportation, to put up and close several roads, including that area of Topanga Canyon in Los Angeles, Topanga Canyon Boulevard, between Mulholland and Pacific Coast Highway along the seashore, as is common in red flag warning areas. CAL FIRE pre-positioned firefighting assets across Southern California. The Los Angeles Department of Water and Power topped off all 3 of its 1 million gallon water tanks. LA Department of Water and Power topped off all 3 of its 1 million gallon water tanks in the area that are affected by the red flag warning. However, there were 2 reservoirs that Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass and California Governor Gavin Newsom decided they didn't need. Oh, we're going to let those reservoirs go down, which they did, to empty. If that hadn't happened, the Palisades fire might have gotten under control a lot sooner than it did. We have Mayor Bass and that Governor Newsom to blame for this fire. Okay? Despite the LA Water and Power people top off the 1 million gallon water tanks, the reservoirs were empty. There was loss of water pressure. There were fire hydrants that didn't have water. Firefighters tried hooking up the fire hydrants, and no water. This is bad. This is very bad, especially in the mountains of that area. Despite the efforts of LA Power and Water, 20% of fire hydrants eventually ran out of water in the more elevated part of Pacific Palisades. On October 8th, federal authorities arrested a man in Florida and charged him with the destruction of property by fire, arson, stating that he ignited the fire on January 1st, 2025 this year. Driving towards Paradise, California on the afternoon of November 8th. One man was less worried about the flames burning through the forest than he was about the smoke. The black, thick smoke billowed across the road like a dangerous fog, cutting visibility to less than 3 feet in front of him in places. A member of the incident management team with the California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection said there was very smoky vegetation on fire. Very smoky vegetation on fire. That's what happens when you have vegetation that has water content in it. The fire becomes very smoky. Black smoke meant homes, possibly entire city blocks on fire. The campfire in Paradise, California was no longer just a wildland fire. It and the Palisades fire were an urban conflagration. They were an urban conflagration. It literally was structure to structure ignition, and firefighting that carried the fire throughout the community. Incredible scene. Very incredible scene, guys. Located in the Sierra foothills at an elevation that favored ponderosa pines, Paradise, California might have seemed susceptible to ravages of forest fire. But what was realized is that the campfire changed its character upon entering the town. Notice I said the fire changed character. And in that revelation lay the hope for preventing tragedies such as this from happening ever again. Hope for preventing tragedies like this from ever happening again. Fires that spread house to house that happened here in Paradise and the Pacific Palisades should not happen. Embers from one fire migrated to the next house because of wind. Very dangerous hot embers from one part of the fire migrating to the other part of the area in the house. All of a sudden, multiple houses are catching fire. Embers broadcast by the wind find dry leaves, igniting one structure then another. And that cycle is perpetuated from block to block to block. We need to break that cycle. Breaking that cycle and the fire quits, and the destruction can be minimized. We're going to be talking about how to protect our homes here. Now, it's very interesting. I went from 36 people watching this program to now 26. I'm talking about fires here and how to prevent our house from being on fire, how to prevent our condominium or apartment from catching on fire, and people leaving this program. They don't want to hear it. I guess they don't want to win the fire or keep their property safe. Paradise, though, never had a chance. Paradise, California never had that chance. Defensible space and hardened structures could not have kept the firestorm from spreading. Defensible space. The area between the fire and the other part of the fire, or other structures or vegetation. Defensible space. Hot embers were carried on wind gusts, clocking in the low 50-mile-per-hour range, feeding on homes and low-lying vegetation, reducing the town to ash. The same thing that happened in Pacific Palisades this year. Most telling were the trees. The trees in both positions here, both towns. Most of these trees were sheltered in this community. The trees sheltered the community, but the trees were not the ones that burned. Low-lying vegetation in the homes were. The needles on the leaves on the trees yellowed from the intense heat, but were not burned. Evidence is that the winds that morning had pushed the fire along so fast, never had a chance to rise into the trees. And as a surface fire, it lit up the homes that lay in its path. Lit up all the homes in its path. Now, I don't know if there's anything that could have been done to save Paradise. It was one of the most intense, destructive fire behaviors I've ever seen. Deadly California wildfires prompt bold thinking about fire prevention. More than a week later, 79 fatalities and some 700 people were missing, and more than 10,000 homes destroyed, and 150,000 acres consumed by fire. But officials say there was an opportunity for destruction. That's why this happened. There was opportunity for destruction because of the low-lying vegetation in the homes being so close together. The Camp Fire had been the most destructive wildfire in the state of California, and we don't want to experience this again. We've had the Pacific Palisades fire early this year. We have to learn from this. We have to learn from this so no one else will have to suffer through such an inferno. We need to make sure that no one else suffers through another inferno. We have to draw lessons from this. Drawing lessons from tragedy is never easy, especially when those lessons have been known for years. Lessons to this have been known for years. Our problem is our society, a society that is unintentionally but actively ignoring opportunities. Ignoring opportunities because of cultural perception of wildfire. Cultural perception of wildfire. The perception argues are based on myth and fear. Perceptions are based on myth and fear, and complicated by ongoing narratives that attributes to conflagrations like the Camp Fire, to such factors as climate change that we know is bullcrap. Climate change is bullcrap. Yes, there is weather modification that causes what they call climate change. It's bullcrap. It's cyclical climates. Cyclical climates that move on and leave year to year, decade to decade. It wasn't climate change. Yes, they had overgrown forests. Overgrown forests. Okay? If Gavin Newsom has done his darn job, the overgrown forest would never have happened. There would have been fire mitigation happening, meaning the dense undergrowth at the ground would have been removed or at least sparsely populated. That way the fire would not have been able to spread like it did. Overgrown forests and urban encroachment into rural areas. Urban encroachment into rural areas. Each of these issues played a role in perpetuating and prolonging the recent fires, but they didn't entirely solve and minimize losses. There are steps to be taken to protect homes. There are steps to be able to be taken to protect communities. Steps that require cooperation and political will. Political will. In this case, the politics of the issue were not taken care of. The governor and the mayor of Los Angeles, the governor of California and the mayor of Los Angeles had no political will to do anything. They didn't stop it. Newsom drained the reservoirs. Mayor Bass didn't do squat. Nothing. She, in fact, was out of the country. She was out of the country when this fire started on January 1st. She didn't come back until January 6th. January 6th, guys. By that time, this fire was well out of control, and Mayor Bass should lose her job because of it. But no, she's not. Why? Because the political will of the community of Los Angeles will prevent her from losing her job. She ought to be able to go to jail for what she did and what she didn't do. But we can demonize a wildfire. We can demonize a wildfire all we want. But the first step is to address the misinformation about wildland fires. Now the number of people watching has dropped to 26 again. Went up to 32 and dropped to 26. People don't care. Apparently, people don't care about wildfire. They don't care about saving their own homes. They don't care about saving their own lives. Sad. Over decades, Americans have been disassociated, not just Americans, but people around the world have become disassociated with the reality of fire. Smokey Bear has almost been too successful. All of us know Smokey Bear. I even played Smokey Bear one summer. I played Smokey Bear. I believed in what Smokey Bear message was. You can prevent wildfires. Only you can prevent wildfires. Smokey Bear was almost too successful in demonizing wildfire. There is a time and place. There is a time and a place and a set of circumstances when fires are beneficial for the landscape. But videos of flames purling down canyon walls and photographs of firefighters stand as heroic silhouettes against a wall of orange flame. We all saw it. We all saw this happen. Firefighters stand as heroic silhouettes against a wall of orange flame behind them, perpetuating the belief the fire is both a scourge and an enemy. The reality is more nuanced. People see what they believe, and that prevents change to a readily available solution. This is preventing change to a readily available, effective approach to preventing these disasters from happening. The phenomenon in Paradise, California, the fire spreading from structure to structure, tree canopies totally intact, not burned. That's not unique to the campfire in Paradise. It's not unique to Pacific Palisades. Fire behavioralists have documented throughout the West, here in the West US. They've documented most recently the aftermath of the firestorms that ravaged Northern California last year. Remember that? We talked about it. Brokefish Inn, one of my friends in Southern Oregon, talked about it. We've been talking about fire in California and the Pacific Northwest for years now. In spite of this, the popular perception is that wildfires burn through these communities like a wall of flames. In fact, small burning embers, firebrands being blown in advance of the fire by wind. Those are the primary cause of structural fires. These burning hot embers from the fire blowing into areas that are not on fire, causing more fire. Then we look at the big flames, but not the firebrands. We look at the big flames, but not the flying embers. We miss the principal igniter, and we pay attention to the show. That's terrible. That's bad. That's very bad. Billions upon billions of flying embers flying into neighborhoods, landing on flammable roofs. Landing onto flammable roofs. You and I can prevent some of this. Those hot embers flying into vegetation around the structure. We can prevent that as well. How about the rain gutters? The rain gutters around our homes, choked with leaves, needles. That can also be prevented from happening. I'm telling you guys, you and I can prevent some of this. We need to take care of our properties. We need to keep vegetation low on our properties. Keeping the vegetation low, the lawns mowed very short, keeping a huge fire away from our homes, clearing the area around our homes by 100 feet around it, clearing our homes out 100 feet away. That keeps most of the fire away from us. Keeping vegetation watered as well. Also, like I said, keeping vegetation watered and 100 feet away from the structure. If you've heard about a fire in your area, you have the opportunity to soak down the roofs of your home. Get up on the roof yourself. Have somebody hand a hose to you. Soak down the roof of your home, and while doing that, also make sure the vegetation around your home is soaked. Soaked vegetation doesn't burn well. Wet homes and ground around your property won't burn well either. Big flame fronts. Big flame fronts, on the other hand, are less effective in igniting structures because they burn fast. Big flame fronts refer to large destructive fires like conflagrations or the interface where a flame propagates, as is seen in laboratory settings or industrial applications like gas pipe explosions. The size and behavior of a flame front are influenced by factors as the fuel type. Grass and bushes and trees. Grass, bushes, and trees. And the presence of wind, turbulence. Wind turbulence, wind blowing like this in circles, wind turbulence. And confinement of the fire. And the chemical mixture of the gases involved. The chemical mixtures of the gases of the fire. All those are factors of the fire. These types of fires are often consuming. They're often consuming fuels in about a minute or less. And in one location, they move from one location to another along very often scenic areas. From house to house, bush to bush, grass to grass. The fire moves very quickly, and then the fire consumes the structures themselves. Yet the face of increasing severe and deadly wildfires throughout this country and everywhere around the globe, it is possible to decrease the vulnerability of urban development in the face of these facts. Again, it is possible to decrease the vulnerability of urban development in the face of these events. It's possible. You and I can do it. We have that control. Uncontrolled extreme wildfires are inevitable, but this doesn't mean that these disasters are inevitable. No. We have great opportunities as homeowners, as members of our communities, to prevent our homes from igniting during wildfires. Number one, and this is very important, not just to politicians, but for all of us. We need to examine our fire codes. We need to examine our fire codes no matter where we live. The Camp Fire in Paradise and the Palisades Fire in Los Angeles, urban conflagrations, meaning fire from structure to structure. That opens the door for fire behavioralists to consider the strengths and weaknesses of the state's fire codes for protecting property in fire-prone rural environments. We have to examine our state fire codes, our city, our counties, our provinces, our country's fire codes. We have to become very familiar with fire. We need to become very familiar with the fire codes, the laws in our areas. Because if we are, we can help prevent these fires. You and I can help prevent these fires. The mandate in California and other states are clear. Clear a 100-foot perimeter around defensible space. A 100-foot perimeter around defensible space. This 100-foot perimeter must be maintained in land that's covered with flammable material. We must maintain that land as uncovered by flammable material. If we have lawns, water the lawns. Water our bushes. While the 100-foot requirement is appropriate, it is and must be a requirement for a 100-foot requirement to be there. It's important to begin thinking closer to the structure itself, and work out in a concentric circle. Work out away from the structure in a concentric circle around the structure to try to prevent the structures from burning. We have to take it seriously. We have to take care of everything from 5 feet out so that when it does burn, it doesn't burn and produce enough radiation to ignite the structure. It doesn't produce enough heat. When I said radiation doesn't produce enough heat, I want to be clear about that. It doesn't produce enough heat to ignite the structure or produce enough flames to come in contact with the structure. We need to remember that. This is very, very important. Okay? Clear the area at least 5 feet out away from the structure so that when it burns, it doesn't produce enough heat to ignite the structure or produce enough flames to contact the structure. The edge of the flame is the hottest. If we keep the flames from coming in contact with the structure, it probably won't burn. The goal here is to distinguish between structure and fires, between structure fires and wildland fires. Distinguish between structures and fires distinguish between structure fires and wildland fires, two different things. And to also understand that communities can be separated from wildland fire. Communities can be separated from wildland fires here. We do not have to live in ammunition bunkers. We don't have to live in ammunition bunkers. And we don't have to entirely eliminate fire from within that perimeter. But just to ensure that fires that occur within 100 feet don't burn long enough or intensely enough to ignite other objects. That is the other situation. We need to ensure that fires that occur within 100 feet of our structure don't burn long enough or intensely enough to ignite other objects. That's the other important thing here. A defensible perimeter also provides residents, you and I, with more safety options such as fire approaches. Fire approaches, where we have opportunity to leave. Sidewalks that are wide enough to give us the opportunity to run down those stretches to our cars, and roads that are wide enough and open enough away from the foliage so we can evacuate. A defensible perimeter here again. We need to be given safety options here. Now, I want to refer to another thing at the Paradise Fire. Most of us heard about this. There's a story of the medical staff at a hospital in Paradise, California. Medical staff and patients at the hospital who took refuge in a home. They took refuge in a home, even climbing on the roof of that home with hoses, clearing away pine needles from the rain gutters. Those doctors, nurses, and patients were able to survive the fire. A house that doesn't burn is the best place to be during a wildfire. A house that does not burn is the best place to be during a wildfire. However, the 100-foot requirement in California should be everywhere. The 100-foot requirement in California should be everywhere, and it stops at the property line. The 100-foot requirement should stop at the property line. That creates a situation where homes can be built beside one another within that perimeter, within a perimeter of 100 feet. That way, homes won't incinerate. Each home is a potential ignition source. Each home is a potential ignition source. And homeowners cannot create a defensible space beyond that property line if that means trespassing on someone else's property. That means each of us as neighbors must make sure, we must make sure that our property is defensible. We must maintain that 100-foot defense area, every one of us, to help each other and ourselves and our neighbors. We have to do it. This is absolutely necessary. Homeowners cannot create a defensible space beyond their property line, if that means trespassing on somebody else's property to help them maintain a defensible space. Each of us has to be responsible for our own property. All it takes is one house to catch on fire. The heat and embers of that house put other houses in jeopardy. One house is all it takes to catch fire, and all the rest of the houses in that area have the chance to catch fire as well. CAL FIRE in California is responsible for enforcing the requirements of the law. But trying to inspect every piece of property is impossible. CAL FIRE Fire Department firefighters don't have the manpower to inspect properties as they might want. That inspection is up to each one of us. We must help inspect our own properties and our homes. Our properties are spread over millions of acres, and that's a monumental task for firefighters. They can't possibly do it. It's up to each one of us as citizens, as residents of communities. We can help prevent wildfires. We can help prevent our homes from catching fire. Now, we must change the social dynamic here. We must change the social dynamic here. Why? It's important. Our lives depend on it. If Paradise and Pacific Palisades and other communities destroyed by the fires are to be rebuilt, the conversation must address the role that neighbors play collectively in protecting themselves and their environment. The physics of fire won't change, but the social dynamic can. It requires planning, not just on city planners, not just on county and province planners. We must, every one of us, be part of that. Doesn't matter whether we live in exclusive one-family homes or multifamily homes or multifamily residences, such as condos and apartments. It's our responsibility as well. There are homeowners associations that need to take responsibilities as well. Paradise cannot be saved. It was not saved. The Pacific Palisades could have been saved, but wasn't. It did not happen because of the social dynamic here. The reservoirs could have been filled. The mayor and the governor could have done something else. The arsonists did not have to start the fire. Lessons of this time have the potential for helping other communities when the next inevitable fire happens. The lessons that we have learned from these fires have the potential for helping other communities when the next inevitable fire occurs. In the aftermath of urban fires, all of the major urban fires have happened. We've seen them happen all over this world. The conflagrations that happened in Chicago and destroyed Chicago, and San Francisco, the 1973 blaze that destroyed the Boston neighborhood, could have been prevented. The fire that destroyed Chicago, the San Francisco fire that occurred, the 1973 blaze that destroyed Boston neighborhood. How about the 1989 earthquake? The 1989 earthquake caused by fire. A lot of earthquakes happen and we have gas mains and water mains that burst. We have to be prepared. We have to prepare our neighborhoods. We have to prepare our homes. We have to prepare our politicians. We must take responsibility when the responsibilities in front of us. Each one of us are responsible. Each one of us must be responsible. A 1982 fire that took out 4 blocks in Anaheim, California. The reforms because of that fire led to strong building codes and stronger zoning laws and insurance requirements in advanced fire protection systems. Advanced fire protection systems. Fire experts hope the devastation of the Camp Fire and the Palisades Fire will have learned something. Not just to reform, but to a greater understanding of what it means to live in a fire-prone area, a drought-ravaged landscape. Fire agencies cannot be entirely relied upon to keep fire away from our homes or keep homes from igniting. It's all of our responsibilities. The wildland firefighter's job is to contain the fire, but it is up to the community to keep fire away. It's up to the community to keep itself safe. Do I have any questions? I spent hours getting this presentation put together. I wanted everybody to see it. I'm hoping more and more people see it during the next few days. I believe this presentation has great viability, has great efficacy, because people's homes burned early this year. Last year, homes burned again. 2018, homes burned. 2007, homes burned. 1989, homes burned. 1978, homes burned. We need to take responsibility ourselves. Okay? Chris Killian's here in the chat saying Spokane, Washington schedules several Saturdays throughout the year when their fire stations are open to the community. They barbecue things for the kids. They have demonstrations integrated in helping protect the community. I love that. That's how it should be. That's exactly how it should be. But it's not just the firefighters that have the responsibility. It's all of us also helping out. We can help the firefighters. We can help our communities. We can help and organize fire prevention days in our neighborhoods. Inviting the firefighters to our neighborhoods for a block party. Inviting the firefighters and law enforcement to a block party in our neighborhood. That's going to help them also get out the message of fire protection and law enforcement community watch in the communities. That way we're helping them and they're helping us. Let's do it. Let's do this, guys. Let's do that. Let's prevent wildfires and let's protect our homes. Okay? Let's do that. We need to be prepared. Next Friday, I'm going to talk about emergency preparedness and pet preparedness. Pet preparedness. I'm going to use slides like this. Be prepared for summer, fall, and winter pet emergencies. I have friends of mine that have an emergency preparedness site for pets. You buy first aid kits for pets. We're going to talk more about that next week. Trish Killian is asking us to save portions of today's broadcast. I'm going to save it here on YouTube. I'll save this entire broadcast on YouTube so everybody has access to it. Please share this broadcast far and wide. Share this broadcast far and wide. Okay? It's up to each of us to help. We need to do it. We need to do it. Now, I want to go over here to the scripture before we leave. Okay? I want to go over St. John 15th chapter here, verses 10 through 18. If you keep my commandments, ye shall abide in my love, even all who have kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love. These things have I spoken unto you, that my joy might remain in you, and your joy might be full. This is my commandment, that ye love one another, as I have loved you. Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. Ye are my friends, if you do whatsoever I command you. Henceforth I call you not just servants, for the servant knoweth not what his Lord doeth, but I have called you friends. For all things I have heard of my Father I have made known unto you. You've not chosen me, but I have chosen you, ordained you, that you should go and bring forth fruit, and that your fruit should remain, that whatsoever ye shall ask of the Father in my name, he may give it to you. These things I command you, that ye love one another. If the world hate you, ye know that it hateth me before it hated you. Remember that. Remember that. One more scripture here before I leave. My buddy, Rob 52, that's usually here, it's his favorite scripture. It's John 3:16 and 17. Actually 3:15, 16, and 17. That whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have eternal life. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, and that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. For God sent not his Son into the world to condemn the world, but the world, that the world through him might be saved. Let's do this, guys. Let's do this. We have the opportunity to save the world. Let's preach, teach, and proclaim the gospel of Jesus Christ throughout the world. Brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, I bear you my testimony Jesus Christ lives. He and our Father in heaven listen and honor our prayers. May God bless you. May God be with you this day and always. I love you. May God bless you and be with you until we meet again. We'll see you on the other side. Good night, everybody. Much love.
Here at Emergency Management Associates, we're dedicated and true, bringing you the essential knowledge, helping you see things through. From disaster preparedness to navigating recovery's embrace, we're here to guide you in every unpredictable time and place. We break down the complex, make it easy to grasp and absorb, sharing strategies for safety, so much for your sub. You're a key part of our growing family, a member of our knowledge club. With every like, every share, and every comment you send our way, our critical message spreads further, helping more people every single day. Together we're stronger and more prepared. That's the truth we all abide. You help us build resilience with nowhere for uncertainty to hide. Your engagement truly inspires us. Your feedback acts as a guiding light, helping us continually grow and making our channel's future bright. We're always learning, always striving to be better. Bring you the most up-to-date information, no matter the weather. Emergency Management Associates is here for you now and forever, it's true. Keep watching, keep learning, because we truly appreciate all that you do. Thank you. Thank you.